I'm a master gardener in Mason County, and I am going to demonstrate how to build a drip system garden network. And I'm going to start off at the garden end. And first of all, I'm going to take a threaded 90-degree elbow and put the water injector on the end. Just screws in. And then I'm going to take a 10-inch piece of pipe. This is for a 4x8 garden.
And how big is the pipe?
This is 1/2 inch.
Okay.
Then I am going to take a threaded T, and I'm going to put on another injector, water injector, and I'm going to attach it to the other end of the pipe. Oh, gotta do the important thing before you put it together. You take a piece of sandpaper, 60, 80, 100, 150, to just score it around the outside. Make sure you're going around the pipe, not with it. Then you would use the glue. They come in packets like this. You can get them at any one of the hardware stores or big box stores. It's a primer and a glue. And you have to make sure you put your primer on first, because otherwise it sometimes doesn't set up right. And the glue, and if you're doing a government job, you gotta have it, because if the inspector doesn't see that purple on it, they won't approve it.
How long do you wait after putting the primer on before you do the glue?
You can do the primer, and then you can put the primer on, and you can actually let it dry, but within a couple minutes.
Okay.
And then once you put the glue on, you have about maybe 2 minutes
To put it
to
together?
put it together. But
Okay.
once you put it together, you gotta make it quick twist wherever you want to get it, because it's set.
Okay.
And then, actually, you go to the next. You gotta score this one.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta score all the ends. Primer it, put your glue on it, and then attach a threaded T on the 10-inch piece.
Where is it threaded?
Threaded for the,
Only on the one,
only
only
on,
on the.
yeah, the threaded pieces will only be on one end.
Okay.
And then you screw your injector on. And the next piece will be a 5-inch piece. Glue it, score it, glue it, put it together here. And then you put a non-threaded T on, facing the opposite direction from your injectors. And then you can build the same thing on the other side. So you end up with this.
So another 5-inch piece.
Another 5-inch piece, another 10-inch piece with the T
With
and the elbow. And
Okay.
that fits a 4 by whatever you want, 4 by 20, 4 by whatever length you want. Okay, on this T, like I say, it's a non-threaded, and then you take a piece of pipe to come this way to have your feed from your faucet and stuff come in. So this will be whatever length you have. You got a bale of straw, it's gonna be 18 inches. If it's good, if you have a 2x, it's gonna be 3 inches. So it goes down the front, and I'd say I'll have up over there, to show, and then a non-threaded 90 goes on there. I say for parrot,
Kind of the same as all the
yep,
others.
same as all of them, glue 'em on. Okay, now that's going down. That's gonna be your water feed.
So
Okay.
when you say water feed, you mean intake water?
Yeah, your intake water feed. Okay, then you're gonna prepare another piece. Come down,
Need to hold it?
and I just,
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
and put your valve on. This is for, so if you're not, you have multi gardens. And say you're not using, it's an early bed. And it doesn't need to be watered. For a late bed, it doesn't need to be watered yet. You would turn your valve off. That way there, you're not wasting water, watering this bed. And then you would take another piece.
How long are these two pieces?
These can be any length you want.
Okay. To fit with your system.
Yeah,
Okay.
so this is gonna go up to the top of your bed. If it's a raised bed, like say I'm building a raised bed. And this would go down to your main feed here.
Okay.
That you have coming down from your faucet.
So is it connecting to a hose then?
Yes, it'll be connected to the hose. I say that'll be the second part that I'll get into, will be the faucet side. And then if you're having a single bed with this, you would put a 90. Non-threaded 90. A non-threaded 90 for a single bed.
And that's the bottom.
That's your bottom. And your hose or your feeder pipe would come here.
Is
That-
there,
That is for a single bed.
is there if it is a hose, is there a hose attachment
Yes,
that you would thread, that you
Yes.
would put on that the hose would thread into?
yes. Like I say, this will go up here and
Mhm.
you'll have an attachment here that'll feed from a garden hose. You have to have a garden hose to go from here to your faucet. Any length, you can make your own. But, okay, this is for a single feed. Now, if you want a multi-feed,
I can put that on.
you would put a T. And you would have it here, so you can continue on.
And then the hose can come on this side.
Your hose is on that end, and this way here, you can continue on to another garden. Okay, I have it here to where it's the end of the feed. It's I put a cap on it. Where it shuts off and that way there during the winter or fall, you pull your plug, you drain your system.
So that your pipes don't crack.
Yeah, so your pipes don't crack when they freeze.
Is it just self-draining or do you?
Self-draining. Make sure you got this on, get all the water here. But drain your system during the winter. Okay, now we'll come back to,
So now we're done at the garden end.
yeah, now we're done at the
Okay.
garden. Oh, I gotta show you. I guess I gotta show how to attach the hose. The drip hose.
Okay.
Okay, please. A drip hose. As you notice, there's a blue side and a black side. The blue side is where the water is. And that's gonna be down. And on the end, they make a little clip. We got ours from Drip Park. And every store has a different brand and a different way of drip systems. This one here, you just take the intake and you fold it over 3 to 4 times. And you put it in to the end here and you just pull it tight. And that seals the end of your tape. And then you can run your tape out as long as you want. And on this end, your tape feed, reverse thread. You just make the end of your tape round and put it on your nozzle. And work it on.
So you're twisting it on.
By twisting it back and forth
Making
to
sure
get it to seat
all the
in,
way in.
all the way in. And then you take your tightener. And it's a left thread, it's a reverse thread. And tighten it up. And then take your tape and give it a good tug. Make sure that it's seated. Okay, now we go back to the faucet end. You would take a threaded threaded 90 or a threaded straight. Either a threaded 90 or a threaded straight. Put it here up, glue it on the end of your pipe. And they make a faucet, standard faucet, 3/4 inch piece, threaded piece that screws into the end.
And that's a 3/4 inch to a 1/2 inch.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's a standard hose fitting. And if you hunt for it, they hide them usually over by the faucets. Because I have looked and looked and looked with all the other pieces. No, they're different. Okay, now you can attach this to a standard hose from your faucet. So you have your hose here. And you just attach your fitted end here. And the other end of your hose here would attach to your faucet. And that way you can run it anywhere you want for your water feed. And this, you can make this as long or as short as you want. You can actually put it right with a small nipple, you can put it right here. Shut off here, make it so easy, the timer. You can set for 15 minutes, it turns on 15 minutes, you can set the hour on some of them, you can. They have great, and they're not really all that expensive, Okay, but this is probably the most important part is the next piece we put on. And that is the pressure reducer. We found that a 10-pound flow is just about right. Because we put up a catalyst, our community garden, we attached a regular hose to our run. And it sounded like the 4th of July as these tapes were exploding. So if you don't reduce the pressure going to them, it's just a little,
You said 10 PSI is the
Yeah.
one you wanna buy?
a 10 PSI. And this one here says 10 PSI, 7 gallon, 1/10 of 7 gallons per minute. And we found that that will feed a massive area because we have 4 of these on our whole catalyst garden up there, and we have it divided into 4 beds. And
Each one covers
each
4
one-
beds.
each one covers, well, 9 beds. And so that,
Then you attach the
and
hose
then you
to
attach
that.
this to your garden hose here. And that would give you because, well, you can, but with plastic fittings, most of the time, they, with the plastic being so giving that they seal. But if they have a little leak or whatever, put some plumber's tape on it. And this is what you get when you don't have primer. Sometimes when, or not enough primer, when you put a joint together. This is from our garden. And it came loose. So it was just glued, or one end was primered and the other wasn't. And it came loose. So I have to go back and return it to the garden after we're done. And then my suggestion would be to get a soil monitor. And that way you can tell how long you want on your meter. It will tell you the moisture of the soil. They'll tell you the temperature of the soil. And with that, you can say, oh geez, I got too much water here. Or not enough water, because it'll tell you the moisture level in the soil.
Can you use this when you just direct seeded something, or is this more for when you're transplanting and things are already rooted?
That's mainly once the garden is, actually anytime. You can use that to see when you first seed. And you want a little extra water there for the seeds to germinate. You might want it a little high. But then as the garden progresses and it's taken root and it's not really hot weather, you can say, oh geez, I can go maybe every 3rd day on this because it's got so much water because it's January. And and if it's dry, you set just a little more time on your clock, on your meter here, and that way there it raises the moisture, because you'll get, as you see here, it's about a 10-inch space between each row, but it will water 6 inches on either side. what we found up at Catalyst Garden. And we have moisture down either side once the water starts to settle into the soil. And it gives you a really great, like I said, this is a 4x8 section right there. Bed. And if it's a flat bed, you might want to go one every, depending upon how wide your rows are, you might want to go 20 inches. You might want to go cut your piece of pipe 15 inches long. So you can make any length you want here. You can have them closer together. You can have them further apart, depending upon your row and what you're trying to water.
Perfect,
Thank you.
thank you.